we're going to talk about the Department of Justice and the FBI memo with the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. There is a major disappointment, a major blow that the Trump administration delivered to some of its most loyal fans today.
The breaking news overnight about the Jeffrey Epstein files and the conspiracy theories officially being rejected. Overnight, the FBI and Justice Department releasing 11 hours of footage they say helps confirm notorious financier Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide in his Manhattan jail cell in 2019, awaiting his sex trafficking trial. According to a memo detailing the findings, investigators found the video showed no one entering the area in the overnight hours before Epstein.
I mean, I told you so's are in order for those who actually believed, even for a brief moment, that the Trump administration would ever actually reveal any of these details, if they would actually shed new light on this stuff. Of course they would not.
Hello, welcome.
And CoffeeZilla, once again, on the pathway to radicalizing from the Trump administration, has a video on this. We'll obviously take a look at that as well. Maybe after Trump dies? No, because only 30, 40, 50 years in the future, once every single person that's on the client list is long gone, would there potentially ever be declassification. Why would the federal government release information on the federal government's own intelligence community's blackmail operation and influence operation? Why would they do that? Y'all are crazy. Trump's labor secretary, Alexander Acosta, was straight up the South Florida prosecutor that gave Jeffrey Epstein his first sweetheart plea bargain deal. It's so funny to me that these guys go, oh my God, I can't believe that the Trump administration that is directly involved with Jeffrey Epstein are not revealing any new information and just basically saying the exact same things that they personally said, the previous administration said that they actively petitioned against. How shocking. Shocking, guys. I can't believe the Trump administration is not only protecting themselves, but also all of the same wealthy people that the Democrats also protected, that the Republicans have also consistently protected. That's, wow, shocking stuff, shocking revelations.
Found unresponsive. But perhaps the biggest bombshell, investigators say they found no incriminating client list of Epstein's, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals, and no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. For years, Epstein has been at the center of conspiracies surrounding both his death and...
Oh, never mind then. Guys, I mean, it's concluded. I guess it's nothing to see here, folks. Folks, nothing to see here. Pack it up. I didn't realize it was like that. Thank you for informing me. I guess there's no reason to investigate this any further. Please stop. Please avert your invested and interested eyes away from this incident. The government has basically told you what's what. Now shut the fuck up. Even Fox News was like, Cap.
Follow up on that, Caroline. Okay, so the FBI looks at the surrounding the death of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing...
Dude, these guys, when they want to be, can become such amazing journalists, literally on the spot. It should remind you how indecent they are in every other instance, okay? When every single one of these charlatans want to be a real journalist, like that follow-up is the bare minimum that every journalist is capable of doing, knowing full well what the immediate retraction is going to look like, what the immediate response is going to look like. And he came in hot. He didn't have to go back. He didn't have to wait another day. Right on the spot. This is real journalism. And it's shocking that it's coming from a like Peter Ducey of Fox News. Look at that. Shocking. He did not miss a beat, dude. Look.
List. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk.
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to...
Wait a minute. Wait a dang minute. What? What happened? What is this, Lamau? I can't believe Epstein killed himself right before he was about to be acquitted due to a complete lack of evidence. Yeah, that's so crazy when you think about it, actually. Yeah. It seems like there was no evidence whatsoever, and he just felt kind of bad. There was a big stack of papers, and the papers were all empty, okay? It's interesting because they're not even doing the Democrats are the pedophile route on this one. They're not even doing the Democrat liberal elite were the pedophiles, and the Republicans are, like, they didn't even sanitize the list to, like, remove the Republican names from it or whatever. They just straight up are like, nope, no list exists. J.D. Vance in 2021. What possible interest would the U.S. government have in keeping Epstein's clients secret? ... Oh, Jack Posobiec. Are you paying attention yet? The DOJ and Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers have made a deal that her little black book of contacts will never be made public. If you're a journalist and you're not asking questions about this case, you should be ashamed of yourself. What purpose do you even serve? I'm sure there's a middle-class teenager somewhere who could use some harassing right now, but maybe try to do your job once in a while. Yeah, a postmortem acquittal to Jeffrey Epstein. We were so wrong. See? Further evidence that if Jeffrey Epstein actually didn't die, didn't get killed, he could have just done the podcaster route and became a prominent fixture of Republican politics. And therefore, he could have had his reputation sanitized. And all of these guys would be talking about how Sigma Grindset he is and how dope he actually is. He was just actually just an ephebophile and not a pedophile. Like, all these people would probably be doing that. That was, of course, J.D. Vance in 2021 when he was not the vice president. Remember that. Now that he is the vice president, I'm sure he has a very different approach to it.
To the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars. They have an operation going on right now called Summer Heat, which has our murder rate trending in the lowest direction in United States history. Their emphasis on violent crime and locking up violent criminals has led to the arrest of 14,000 violent criminals. That's a 62% increase from the same time period last year. So this Attorney General and the FBI Director are committed to putting bad people behind bars where they belong. They promised an exhaustive review. That's what they did. For any further details, I would refer you to the Department of Justice.
Huh. Well, I'm now firmly on Team Epstein didn't kill himself after the mistakes they were made in this release. Let's break it down. This 10-hour video does not show Epstein's cell. It's across the entire hall from Epstein's section. You can see that in the attached image. I mean, some of this stuff, some of this like armchair analysis is going to be wrong initially, by the way. I'm just letting you know. I don't know. I haven't looked into that person's statements, but we can potentially match it up with what we do know. But here, let's keep going.
And a rumored client list allegedly used to blackmail powerful men. Attorney General Pam Bondi, back in February, was asked if the Justice Department intended to release a list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Bondi saying this.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
And just last month, while feuding with President Trump, Elon Musk posting, time to drop the really big bomb. @real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald J. Trump. But Musk later deleted that.
Guys, don't look at that. Musk deleted it. Elon Musk deleted that, okay? So it's not, you shouldn't use that. I mean, come on now. I mean, who amongst us hasn't accused their partner in crime of being a participator in an international sex trafficking scheme? It happens, you know?
And others saying he went too far in attacking Trump. The president saying he cut ties with Epstein nearly 2 decades ago, saying even Epstein's lawyer cleared him. This is the first time the Trump administration has officially contradicted conspiracy theories about Epstein, theories previously pushed by members of the administration.
To get to the bottom of what happened.
Caroline, the DOJ and FBI have now concluded there was no Jeffrey Epstein client list. What do you tell MAGA supporters who say they want anyone involved in Jeffrey Epstein's alleged crime?
It's so crazy because, like, this is the one thing that will brick some of the Trump camp. Like, I said this before. I said this last time they, like, did this, like, brief release, right? Where it was nothing at all. Remember when all of the MAGA influencers they brought into the White House were, like, all celebrating, like, libs of TikTok and shit? We're all celebrating about, like, oh, Jeffrey Epstein stuff. It's coming out. This administration is so based. They're so based. You don't understand. Like, this is the one thing that those guys will actually not forgive nor forget. You can't create a base of support from conspiracy theorists, as the Trump admin did, and then have them not expect anything. Okay? You have to give them something. So when these guys also realize, like, it's the same with the anti-war people, right? If you run a campaign aggressively on being anti-war, some people are going to pay attention to that. Some people are going to believe that. Okay? So when you say you're going to be based in anti-war, and then you don't actually turn around and be based in anti-war, some people will get frustrated with that. I know people who are ironically also on the Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy side, which is not even like a conspiracy theory in my opinion. It's just the truth. But like, they're gonna be frustrated with this. They're gonna be like, "Where the f is the info? What is this? What the hell is going on?" Yeah, Bradley Martin is the example I was thinking of, for sure. And there are plenty of people like him. You have to remember, a part of the reason why I do this is because, like, there are a lot of people in the real world who operate like this. Wait, what the f? Hold on.
To be held accountable.
This administration wants anyone who has ever committed a crime to be held accountable. And I would argue this administration has done more to lock up bad guys than certainly the previous administration. And the Trump administration is committed to truth and to transparency. That's why the Attorney General and the FBI Director pledged at the president's direction to do an exhaustive review of all of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and his death. And they put out a memo in conclusion of that review. There was material they did not release because, frankly, it was incredibly graphic and it contained child pornography, which is not something that's appropriate for public consumption. But they committed to an exhaustive investigation. That's what they did, and they provided the results of that. That's transparency.
Follow up on that,
Sure.
Caroline. Okay, so the FBI looks at the circumstances surrounding the death of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars. They have an operation going on right now called Summer Heat, which has our murder rate trending.
Yes, we just watched this. We just watched the last part of this.
Now the feud.
But yeah, before we get to Elon Musk and his new party, let's take a look at
Back to the
CoffeeZilla.
void. Today we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein. The big update, which is just that he had no client list and offed himself. That's according to Axios. In a big scoop, they apparently got a hold of this document from the U.S. DOJ and FBI, kind of a joint statement.
Yeah, guys, you don't understand. So he was trafficking in no one and killed himself for no reason. Yeah. You don't understand. He was trafficking for no one, and he was just doing it for the love of the game. He was just like a serial sex trafficker and pedophile, but just for himself. And all of the people that were, that he was hanging out with, like, they all just happened to really like his vibes, and they were not clients of his. The hours and hours and hours of videotapes that were uncovered in the raid, because his house, all of his houses were taped. Okay, all of his houses had a ton of security cameras everywhere. Okay. And there were hours and hours of tapes that were recovered from these raids. And the tapes were named, like the tapes had names on them, right? But that's just, he was just a guy who loves videography. And he was just doing it for the love of the game. He was not filming people in his mansion doing sex crimes. Those people were just there because they loved chilling with Jeffrey. And they had no idea that he was a pedophile, even though he went to jail for it. What the hell?
We're going to go through it. They say, as a part of a commitment to transparency, the Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation have conducted an exhaustive review of the investigative holdings related to Jeffrey Epstein, sort of a relook at the evidence, if you will, and they come to some very interesting findings. And it's interesting in that it's contrary to what a lot of what they've been saying all along, and that's what's kind of the problem here. For the last few months, we've been teased along with these statements about, you know, oh, we've got the client list.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
We've got thousands of videos.
There are thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child.
And then, you know, Kash Patel goes on Joe Rogan and says, hey, there ain't no videos. If I had a video of a guy on an island committing a felony, don't you think you know about it?
Again, logical play out. If there was a video.
Yeah, come on, Joe. Don't you trust me? Literally the least trustworthy looking person that they could have found to do this. This was so funny because, like, Kash Patel always looks stressed up. He just looks so unimaginably stressed, possibly on some kind of upper. Like, he could be telling you what he ate at lunch, and I'd be like, dude, I don't think you ate whatever you're saying. You just look like a liar. No matter what you say, you look like you're a liar. But then, on top of that, the things he was saying on the Joe Rogan Experience were so crazy that even the Joe Rogan stands were like, yeah, this is not going to float our boat. You know, doesn't. Trust me, Joe. Do I look like an untrustworthy person to you? Do I look like, as a part of the FBI's directive, I would hide information about a potential member, an asset of the intelligence community that was engaging in a high-profile sex trafficking and blackmail operation, Joe? I would not. That's why I was like, nah, no shot, dog. This is definitely hiding it.
Of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island, and I'm in charge. Don't you think you'd see it?
It's already.
No.
Like a bit of a contradiction.
No. Why would we? What have you done that would cause us to even have any confidence in you? What have you said or done that would instill confidence in me? You literally look like the least secure man in America, the least trustworthy man in America.
Contradiction. Now, Joe Rogan even tries to give him the out, like, oh, maybe you don't have it. And he's, no, we're giving you everything.
If you have access to it.
If I have it, period.
Right.
If I have it.
Right. If you have it.
Right.
But you can't say that you have it.
No, we're giving you everything we have.
So far.
Everything we have so far is
Have you guys gone over all the video that's available?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That's what takes so much damn time.
And so there already was a wedge with what we were sort of told we're going to get versus then they come out and say, hey, nothing to see here. And today is a little bit more of that. It's a little bit more of the finger wagging at the conspiracy theorists, which is ironic given that both Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who have now come out saying there's nothing to see here, guys, were saying, oh, there's a lot to see here before they got in.
Who killed Jeffrey Epstein?
This doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a suicide.
It's unbelievable. The guy killed himself.
Now, maybe that.
Yeah, one of the funniest aspects of this is literally that the people that they task with this are the people that also played a formative role in the public increasing their curiosity. And I think this was a mistake. I think they legit thought, as long as we have these like conspiracy theory guys that have developed significant audiences in these spaces, as long as they are the primary communicators, that people will trust them. People will just believe whatever the they say, not realizing that people care about this shit. Like, they care about this shit a lot more than they care about Dan Bongino. Why would they even give a shit about Dan Bongino? Who cares about Dan Bongino? You know? The only reason why these people even developed an interest in what Dan Bongino was about was because he seemingly was trying to arrive at the truth.
That because they did a deep dive and they're just being honest with people.
Again, you want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
But I think you deserve criticism if you're going to engage in this type of conspiracy.
Also, yeah, I mean, listen, Coffee, you're not thinking about how much Dan Bongino has suffered, okay? Think about how much Dan Bongino has suffered. I feel like this is really messed up that CoffeeZilla is hitting him with this when...
I gave up everything for this. I mean, you know, my wife is struggling. I'm not a victim. I'm not Jim Comey. It's fine. I did this, and I'm proud I did it. But if you think we're there for tea and crumpets, well, I mean, Cash is there all day. We share it. Our offices are linked. He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He's there. He gets in like 6 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't leave till 7 at night.
Yeah, dude. I was a podcaster. I was a podcaster. You know, I was working in the trenches. Now I have to be in a tiny office, and I have to hear Kash Patel drop the nastiest shit in the room next door. Okay? Think about how terrible this is. Why does nobody care? Why doesn't anybody care about me? What the I don't get to see my family anymore. I used to see them when I was podcasting.
You know, I'm in there at 7:30 in the morning. He uses the gym. I work out in my apartment. But I stare at these four walls all day in D.C., you know, by myself, divorced from my wife. Not divorced, but I mean separated, divorced. And it's hard. I mean, you know, we love each other, and it's hard to be apart.
But you're doing some great work. You're straightening out the FBI. You're moving buildings. There's a lot of change.
I got one more thing. I gave up everything for this. I mean, you know.
He gave up everything for this, dude. I need you to understand something here. It's like, this is if whichever the next Democratic administration is, like, put me in charge of the FBI, okay? If I'm the deputy director of the FBI. Like, quite literally, in order for you to understand how psychotic this is, it's as though Democrats came back in charge and then they put my ass as the deputy director of the FBI, okay? Because that's him. Dan Bongino is the me on the other side, okay? Think about how psychotic that is. Anyway, let's get back to the primary purpose of why they did this and how much of a failure it's been so far.
Thinking, and then when it's convenient for you, you expect the trust of the people. If you're the one saying, like, hey, those guys can't be trusted, you become that guy and you go, well, guys, you can trust me, right? When I'm going to say the exact same thing everyone's been saying this whole time. That's why it's so stupid. I mean, you guys set up all the wrong expectations. You told us we're going to reveal the truth, and now they're saying there's nothing to see here, and shame on you for thinking there was. And once again, this is more self-contradiction, because in this statement, we actually find immediately first page, second paragraph, saying that there's a large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who are either minors or appear to be minors. My question is, there's no one else in this statement. They admit.
Yeah, he was the one who was just doing all of the pedophilia. All of the people that have frequented his houses, they were always there for the vibes alone. Like, they were not there for the things that Jeffrey Epstein was doing. And also, given the density over numerous years, given the amount of times, like the amount of hours recorded in these tapes, someone must have randomly encountered Jeffrey Epstein doing the deed, right? Even if he was just doing it himself.
That Epstein harmed over 1,000 victims. So you got 1,000 people, either some form of evidence that he harmed.
Like, what? This is what's so crazy. It's like 1,000 plus victims. So Jeffrey did it just himself. In what time frame? 1,000 victims. Jeffrey did it just himself. He was just like a serial pedophile rapist. But while he was doing it so frequently, none of the people that were constantly going in and out, none of the wealthy clientele, well, not clientele, sorry, wealthy friends of Jeffrey Epstein that were going in and out of his house ever encountered this. like former Prime Minister of Israel Ehud Barak in 2016, or even Kimball Musk, Elon Musk's brother, who was dating one of the girls that Jeffrey Epstein was flying around. Prince Andrew, Alan Dershowitz, Bill Clinton.
Nobody else was involved? Epstein's around the most powerful people on the planet. 1,000 victims. No, nobody else. There's images and videos. Apparently, that's what they say. Nobody else is on camera, right? Because otherwise, that would mean that the FBI director went on Joe Rogan and told a lie, told a little fib.
If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
No, I don't. Why would we think that you would reveal this information? What have you done so far that would lead us to believe that you would be an honest actor here? I don't think, and also I was right. We were right for not thinking you would actually reveal this information. Because like, go back to the video that I did on the Joe Rogan Experience with Kash Patel and Joe Rogan.
But he says he's going to get the evidence out. So how do you square this, right? There's 1,000. Was Epstein just filming himself the whole time for like, did he put it in the evidence box? I mean, that's the ridiculous thing about this. Why would you film yourself committing these acts? That's where the whole blackmail angle came from. Was there's all these videos for what, right? And I'm sure those people, these powerful people, did not consent to being recorded. So what else was this being used for? It's just pretty amazing. This whole statement seems to absolve any third parties, saying that they really have nothing else that they can bring that would expose third parties to allegations of illegal wrongdoing. Saying later, this systemic review revealed no incriminating client list. Now, here's where I gotta say, like, yeah, what, you didn't find the little notebook that had the, like, every guy that did something wrong on it? Yeah, obviously that's probably not gonna exist, right? But if you have videos and somebody appears in the video doing something bad, it's not a client list, but that's a client, right? So I just find it so hard to believe. I just don't believe. I'm going to be honest. I do not believe that you had so many videos, apparently enough to catalog over 1,000 victims, and not a single other person other than Epstein appeared on any of them, right? He's friends with all these famous people. He got rich, and nobody knows how he got rich. Suspect that it was some form of blackmail, but the FBI seems to basically say this is a conspiracy theory. They say perpetuating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither of those ends of combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims. You know, I actually agree with that. I do think we have to be careful not to jump to, conspiracy theories. The problem is when you release contradictory evidence, it makes people think that you're hiding stuff. Like that is not being helped in this release. I don't know if they're saying, oh, we're being so transparent here. Seems like...
Okay, to be fair to the FBI, I'm going to say this once again, but like they worked really hard on this blackmail operation. So don't you think it's a little inappropriate to demand that they ruin years and years of sexual blackmail material that they worked actively to cultivate? I mean, they worked really hard on it. In their defense, they worked really hard on it, and you guys are just trying to fuck the bag, and it's messed up. Okay? It's messed up. Like, joint CIA Mossad operation. It's disrespectful, really. Yeah, it is. It's disrespectful to demand that they turn over their work. Adam Sosnick defending the Epstein cover-up on PBD. Are you not value-tained? Oh, my God. Oh, I am so value-tained. I'm about to get even more value-tained. And also, prominent MAGA influencers are now coming out, like Robbie Starbuck. Pam Bondi said the Epstein client list was on her desk for review to release to the public just a few months ago. Now the DOJ she leads claims that there was no Epstein client list. Sorry, but this is unacceptable. Was she lying then or is she lying now? We deserve answers. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Elon Musk also posted this last night. What's the time? Oh, look, it's no one has been arrested o'clock again. The official Jeffrey Epstein pedophile arrest counter. I think Elon Musk is doing this because he knows full well that the Trump administration will never reveal this information. Okay? That's it. Because I think he knows that every single person that's implicated in this is ultimately protected by the administration, by every administration, The entire purpose that the American government serves is to protect the super wealthy. Okay? That is their primary purpose here, chat. And Elon knows that he will never be implicated in this, or his brother will never be implicated in this, because they will never release this information. That's why he can posture like this. Here's a guy who has quite literally been around Ghislaine Maxwell in events. His brother directly dated a Jeffrey, one of the girls that were trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein, or one of the girls that were flown around by Jeffrey Epstein. His brother used to go to Jeffrey Epstein's mansion in New York, Kimball Musk. So he's just posturing this way to beef up his populist talking points to win support and take advantage of the chaos that the Trump administration is bringing about by cutting away at significant portions of the MAGA base that played a formative role in demanding these kinds of things. You know, I'm just gonna show this one more time. Obviously, as far as the people that are implicated with Jeffrey Epstein or connected to Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump's connections to Jeffrey Epstein actually comes after. Okay, as recently as his last tenure, when he, like I said, brought up Alexander Acosta and made him the labor secretary. Alexander Acosta is the person that gave Jeffrey Epstein, in his first sex trafficking charges, pedophile sex trafficking charges, a sweetheart plea deal that allowed him to literally leave the prison. Okay? Nothing. This has never happened before and has never happened since. Alexander Acosta, after the new revelations came out about Jeffrey Epstein, including his involvement in the prosecution, had to basically quietly resign from this position. That was Trump's labor secretary. Okay? Trump's initial involvement with Jeffrey Epstein was famously in the first case against Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein used Mar-a-Lago as a hunting ground for new victims. That's the case. Straight up. And now you got even DC Drano, Rogan O'Handley, admitting the White House used them for a publicity stunt. As one of the influencers who was given the now infamous Epstein binder, I want to share a few thoughts. I understand the rage people have for demanding the Epstein client list and arrest. Every influencer there that day feels the same anger watching pedo elites get away with the most heinous crimes. We want justice, and almost all of us have called for the client list and arrest for years. We had no idea we would receive the Epstein binders that day. We were originally invited for a meeting with Vice President J.D. Vance in the White House, and that was it. We all paid for our flights and hotels out of pocket and carved out time to go. None of us even knew who else was invited. We ended up meeting with President Trump, Marco Rubio, RFK, Kash Patel, Caroline Leavitt, and basically half of Trump's cabinet in the Oval Office. We were honored to be invited. What a great honor. He's like, they used and abused us, man. This is up. There was no advance notice about binders or any other meetings except our meeting with JD. We had a surprise meeting with the Attorney General, and she handed us the Epstein file binders. We all heard on the news the night before that she would be releasing the Epstein files that day, so it was surreal to have a copy in our hands. The photo shoot was not planned. We were walking from the White House to the Eisenhower building, and about 50-plus photographers were waiting outside for the UK Prime Minister to arrive and meet with Trump. Myself and others held up the binders because we were enthusiastic about justice finally coming for the pedo elites after living for 4 years under a rigged and stolen presidency. We were told a lot of the info. Dude, first of all, these guys are careerists, okay? That's the reason why they were celebrating. They were like, oh my God, my conspiratorial career has finally gotten me entry into the White House. I'm like, I have direct access to the administration. They don't give a fuck about the truth. Everyone who actually cares about the Epstein case knew this, okay? And clearly, they never cared. Also, Jeffrey Epstein was murdered when Trump was the president. What are we talking about? It's not just Alexander Acosta. Jeffrey Epstein was killed in a federal facility when Trump was the president. These guys are so stupid and so goddamn delusional. I do not understand how you can be this delusional. It doesn't make any sense. Murdered? ? Yes. Unless you believe the Trump administration when they say, no, you see, that's not what happened. He actually killed himself because he was really sad. He's like, excuse me, killed? I thought it was suicide. Where's your proof? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't believe if these guys are like memeing actively or if they just like, they're drones. This is literally what happened in the aftermath of the initial New York Times reporting on the matter too, where so many people turned around and were like, no, Jeffrey Epstein actually didn't kill himself. I read it in the New York Times report. Like, they didn't even reveal any information that was convincing. Like, you just read it and you took it as fact. That's it.
By the 9/11.
Reddit. Reddit. Huh. It's crazy that the guy who was a known pedophile sex trafficker was allowed to operate in elite circles after it was known that he was a pedophile sex trafficker. And he has like known collaborators, including but not limited to actual princes or former prime ministers of Israel like Ehud Barak and a bunch of the Democratic Party's elite. And we're acting as though and including Donald Trump, and we're acting as though like it's ridiculous that it's ridiculous to assume that he actually was murdered. I'm sorry, dude. That's psychotic. Okay? That is, I mean, you are the biggest sucker of all time. Yeah, and now fell for it again award for the Hodge twins. I mean, they're the dumbest in the right-wing circle. I didn't vote for elite pedophiles to be protected. Yeah, there was also apparently 1 minute missing from the Jeffrey Epstein, alleged Jeffrey Epstein cell footage as well.
The first big release was a nothing burger.
Yeah, wouldn't you be sad if your former cop cellmate tried to kill you? That's why former cop, roid monster, okay, tries to kill you, and then you're put on suicide, well, that was him attempting suicide, actually. He just, the official narrative is that he tried to kill himself once, so then they put him on suicide watch, but then just, video footage went away and the guards were sleeping. Yeah. Officer Tartaglio.
Then they said they had, reviewing all these videos. Then they say if we have videos of people committing crimes, we tell you about those. And then they say we have thousands of videos, but we're not going to show you them because there's nothing to see. There's nobody on there important. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Quote, we did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. In other words, there's nothing we found that would be useful for a future investigation. That's what I find so interesting. Like, I get you don't want to accuse someone in a press release of something that you haven't accused someone of, like, with criminal charges, right? I get it. That's kind of the Department of Justice's way. Even if they have a file on somebody, but they're not going to charge them, they redact their names, usually. But in this case...
Yeah, it's so interesting. Let's pack it up. It's just like the additional known affiliates were given a were basically struck from the official record in the subsequent plea bargain deal that Jeffrey Epstein took. If you recall, in the previous time he actually went and served a fake prison sentence. It's just like, yeah, no known affiliates. Actually, there's nothing. There's no information here because, like, clearly there's no client list. There's no official client list. So there's no official elite pedophiles that frequented any number of different Jeffrey Epstein mansions.
They're kind of saying we didn't find anything that we would. I mean, it's such a strongly worded statement. That's what's weird about it. Why wouldn't you be vague if you had pending cases, right? I find it so weird that the people in the FBI right now have come in with such a mission to, on the one hand, say, hey, we're going to be totally transparent. And then, oh, well, we're not going to show you that. We're not going to show you that. We don't want to re-victimize anyone. Okay, that's fine. But then how are you going to make a bunch of absolute statements that make no sense and contradict what you said earlier? Like, if you're saying we can't say anything, then don't say anything. Don't say, hey, we're going to tell you everything. Well, we actually cannot. We can't actually show you. And that kind of overconfidence extends to also their, pronouncement about, hey, there's nothing to see here as far as the death of Epstein, because they don't really show much new here. We knew that this footage of the common area existed. Basically, they showed 10-hour footage of the common area during the time at which this all would have happened, Epstein's death. And so this is supposed to be like the absolute bulletproof, to show everyone that, oh, there's no way that someone could have gotten in here. But this is not actually Epstein's door. So, I mean, I don't know the exact layout of the prison. I'm not going to pretend to know everything there. But this is no more proof than we already had. We already knew this existed. The questions were about all the security malfunctions of the much more important cameras than just the common area. I'm not sure how a 10-hour video of a common area definitively proves anything new. That's what I'm saying. You can't come in and go, hey, we got this bombshell. It's what you already knew, right? That doesn't make sense. And also, we've confirmed there's over 1,000 victims. Don't know who by. I mean, like, only Epstein? Really? Look at the charges of Ghislaine Maxwell. I mean, it's insane. Are we saying they were all to Epstein? Every single one. Over 1,000 only for Epstein. The way he got his money, we have no idea. It doesn't make sense.
No, he was just a chill guy. That's why Lex Wexner, the founder of Victoria's Secret and L Brands, was just a homie, and basically made Jeffrey Epstein be his money guy and have complete control over. Les Wexler allowed Jeffrey Epstein to control basically his entire finances, because he was a chill guy and a money wizard. You know, that's what it is.
So yeah, an incredibly frustrating day for anyone who was expecting anything new from this.
Lex stole Victoria's Secret. He didn't found it. Oh, my bad. I thought he found it.
Administration coming in saying,
yeah, or the Dersh. Look at all of the wonderful individuals that were surrounding Jeffrey Epstein. I mean,
they were going to clean house, get rid of the corruption, fight for truth, release the truth. You know, you're not gonna catch me hiding a guy on an island, right? And so I don't know. I was kind of stunned to see this report. I just thought, if you're gonna say this, which again doesn't really say anything new, only it's kind of like a backhanded, you know, hey, stop being such a conspiracy theorist, guys. You know, that is what I find strange. Just the absolute over-promising and under-delivering. I mean, again, if you're gonna open source everything, okay, that's fine. If you're not gonna open source everything, you're gonna say, hey, we gotta protect people, fine. Don't make a bunch of pronouncements and don't deliver on them. Just kind of a complete self-own here. But it's also what you get when you say for years that the deep state is hiding something and then you become the deep state.
yeah. I mean, the deep state is the friends we made along the way. Here is Benny Johnson, February 2025. You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. Why is the FBI protecting the largest scale pederast?
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
You say that the FBI has
Also, here is here's Jedediah Vance. Here is our boy JD. Our boy JD speaking on it, speaking facts, okay, on Theo Vaughn.
Everybody in politics has a vice that's much worse than alcoholism, is the way that I put it. But we
release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
Here's a video of Trump saying he thinks the Epstein list has a lot of phony stuff in it.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you know, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's...
Less so, I guess, less so. I mean, who amongst us haven't taken a short trip on the Lolita Express? My private plane is much nicer than Jeffrey's, Jeffy boys, but I have been on Jeffrey's plane before. Less so, lots of elite implicated. Some of y'all's faves will be implicated. Don't like it. Don't like that at all, obviously. Believe me, folks, don't like that.
Phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
Yeah. Let's see.
On pedophilia and blackmailing the most powerful people.
What do you mean we are built? Define that. Do you mean our entire country, our entire government, our entire FBI, CIA?
I'm saying this. Whoever,
or is this one little operation that
Adam,
they don't want to expose?
Whoever he was working for, Epstein, Mossad, CIA, everything. Apparently, the most powerful people on the world We're flying to an island and having sex with underage kids because she said it. There's tens of thousands of hours of them doing it. If we're built on that and the most powerful people that are running the show are in charge, the guys telling Cash Patel, the thing that you just read, shut up. Shut up about it. Hold on, you know who I am. He knows who I am. I want accountability for everybody. If it's Trump, if it's Bill Gates, if it's Bill Clinton, I don't give a shit. If it's the president of anything, expose them because, Adam, the truth has to come out.
Okay, so I only have one question for you,
Yes.
my dear friend. I agree with you, but at what price?
Take a deep breath.
Okay. But hold on, hear me out. At what price?
At any price, Adam.
So you're saying to expose whatever happened on Epstein Island, you're...
Bro, what do you mean? At what price? What happened? Are your homies involved or something? Like, what the what do you mean? At what cost? Yeah, the cost is what? We get to know who the villains are? At the cost of justice? At the cost of unearthing tremendous amounts of evil? I think it's a good cost. You know? What do you mean?
Want to do whatever this looks like.
Yes.
Tear down the government, expose all the secrets, put America basically in harm's way just to find out what's up.
What do you mean, Adam?
Because these are the most powerful people in the world.
Yeah.
They're
Oh my God. That's
on this island.
Adam, so let the truth be told or the heavens fall. I don't care.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
Adam. And that's who Vincent Oshana is. I am 100% accountability, and I don't give a... Adam, if that's what we were built on...
But at what price?
I don't give a
tearing
shit. There is
down
no
America?
price. Guess what the price is, Adam? God.
So
God's
you want
the price.
You're
going to answer them anyway.
You want to rule a city of ashes.
I don't give a shit. If it's built on pedophilia and raping kids, yes, because...
You're being emotional.
No, I'm not. I'm being real.
You have to understand.
I'm being real.
The whole concept of do you want to cut your nose off to spite your face? There might be an issue. But do you want to cut your whole nose off and ruin your entire face because you care that much about this entire issue?
If the machine is running right now because pedophiles are running the show and they're telling him, shut the hell up because we're all pedophiles, knock it down. And my last thing, pal, what bothered me about what he said is we're not going to re-victimize the girls and the victims. We're not going to do it.
Cash?
Cash. Guess what? Nobody wants to see any girl. I don't want to see any kids, male, boy, underage. Blur them out. But who's the guy that's touching them? Who's the guy that's molesting them and raping them? This is a horrible...
I can't believe I'm in agreement with Vinny Redface over here. I mean, he's right. And he's getting that same tomato complexion he got when he was talking to me. But this time for good as opposed to for evil. I like that the defense here, the reasonable, quote unquote, reasonable defense here is basically saying, well, you know, the whole government's run by pedophiles, and this would be far too disruptive to the pedophile schemes that they have designed if we were to find out who the pedophiles are. It is what it is. Like, how do you not feel embarrassed saying that? Unless you yourself are personally one of the pedophiles or know someone who is one of the pedophiles. What would Epstein conspiracy theorists say about this fact pattern if it was about anyone other than Trump? Yeah, here are some of the Trump links to Jeffrey Epstein. Trump was quoted in a 2002 profile describing Epstein as a longtime friend and terrific guy about whom it is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them on the younger side. Trump was among the politicians and celebrities who hitched rides on the Epstein private plane in the 1990s. In 2019, shortly before Epstein's arrest on sex charges, longtime Trump advisor Steve Bannon prepped Epstein for a potential interview. Yeah, we've never gotten those tapes out either, by the way. Shouts out. Steve Bannon literally was potentially working with Jeffrey Epstein in a mock trial. Okay, there was that part too. Trump chose Labor Secretary in his first term, Alexander Acosta, who was a U.S. attorney who oversaw a sweetheart plea deal for Jeffrey Epstein that a judge later ruled illegal. Alan Dershowitz, a Trump supporter. Hold on. There is no world in which this many incidents. There's no world in which this many incidents do not lead people scrutinizing the individuals in charge. Okay, and I don't even know how the Trump administration is going to get away with this, if we're being honest. Epstein's 2019 suicide occurred while he was in the custody of a Federal Bureau of Prison, an agency overseen by the time by Trump-appointed attorney Bill Barr. After longtime Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested on sex trafficking charges in 2020, Trump told reporters, "I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach, but I wish her well, whatever it is." That's what he said. Trump waffled about whether he would declassify the Epstein files. We saw that already during a Fox interview, but the network edited out a portion of his answer. Trump appointed as Attorney General Bondi, who was Florida's Attorneys General in 2019 to 2011 to 2019. A period of time when Jeffrey Epstein's plane records became public, victims' lawsuits were filed, and a lot of new evidence against Epstein surfaced, but she did not take action. Interesting. Lot happening here in the Epstein situation. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is using the Epstein situation, knowing full well that they'll never actually Trump will never actually reveal this information. Pierce calling out Alina Habba over the list.
This case, in Epstein's case, it is
I have to pee.
disturbing. We have flight
Hold
logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable. Let's talk about the reverse. I believe in accountability. So you have to now go through your process. Now, I won't say they're guilty until they go through their time in court. But again, now it's time for accountability. We have seen for so many years, Pierce, in this country, many investigations, subpoenas, testimonies in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a general frustration with accountability. We take it halfway, we don't take it home. And I really believe that now with Cash and Pam, there will be account. But in this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
Not for Alina. He looks worried. That's funny. Release the list, baby. Come on. Oh, no list, please. No list here. Nothing to be seen here. It's pretty wild that the far right expected Trump, the guy who Epstein himself described on tape as his best friend, to chase down Epstein's client list instead of just closing the case. Here is the Trump is a white hat pedophile arguments coming in. Okay, this is something that I've joked about before. It's still, while I have joked about this being a possibility in the line of defense, it's still funny seeing it take place in real time. That's right. Trump DOJ investigated his ties to Epstein and found nothing. I love Trump. He's the best leader in our lifetime, maybe in history, but no one in MAGA thinks that he's not a pedophile / into incest. It's not ideal, but it's a flaw we live with, and I doubt he still acts on it. No one is perfect, but Trump comes awfully close. Move on. I like that, as I told you before, when people ask me, Hasan, do you think that, like, if Trump was outed as like a trans person, if Trump was actually, if he came out as trans, like, what would the MAGA supporters say? They would turn trans themselves, okay? If you think that there is anything that Donald Trump could do that would cause some of the most diehard, some of the most loyal fans to turn around and be like, yeah, this is a bridge too far for me, you're delusional. There is nothing that Trump could do that these guys would consider to be a bridge too far. Their loyalties will always lie with the big guy. Nobody's perfect. Just a little bit of pedophilia. This is going to be one of the trickier conspiracy theories to wiggle their way out of, but God bless, they're going for it. Look, exclusive analysis. Was Epstein video evidence destroyed by the Biden admin? Roger Stone claims Kash Patel is telling the truth, not covering up crimes because the Epstein files and hard drives no longer exist. Let's watch. I need to see. Does anyone have any good videos of Alex Jones coming out and like defending the Epstein client list and I would love to see this man grovel. Oh yeah, who could also forget? Here's RFK Jr. openly saying straight up, I was on the plane.
You were on Jeffrey Epstein's, were you?
I was on Jeffrey Epstein's jet 2 times.
You weren't ever.
Yeah, you said it. Hey, Matt Wallace, since you saw the leaked files back in February, why don't you tell us what the White House won't?
Well, I woke up this morning and turned my phone on, and there were hundreds of text messages saying, oh my God, the DOJ just put out a letter, I know you've all seen now, saying there is no Epstein client list, there never was any blackmail operation, Epstein killed himself, and the investigation's closed. So everybody wants to know what I think.
I love that he's driving. I love that he's driving, and neither hand is on the wheel. Watch as he uses his hands to communicate.
Well, I know what's going on. And so I'll tell you. Trump had two ways to go with all of this. He could prosecute all of these incredibly prominent people, household names, or they could use the information to blackmail the deep state. I've done deep research, have a lot of contacts, and know Trump's MO. And he's not into kids, he's not into being peed on, and Russian hotels, all that was lies. We now know from the CIA and Brennan, and the very...
Oh, he's using the pedophile blackmail to blackmail the blackmailers. Oh, I get it now. Oh, that's why. Chat, you were misguided into thinking that he was engaging in ass covering for all these pedophiles. Doesn't that make him the same as the deep state then? If he's refusing to reveal this information and using the blackmail, the pedophilia blackmail, doesn't that literally make him the same as the very people that you supposedly despise? Interesting.
Crew running the Epstein operation. But the reason that you are seeing this deep sixth is because the CIA with the Mossad and MI6 was running Epstein, and it was an official U.S. government operation, multinational. And it was the family business going back to Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, and that's all on record. So if Trump was to actually prosecute this, it would bring down the CIA. And so that's why you've had Comey, who controlled the files over at the FBI with the CIA, but on that end of the DOJ, having his daughter do all the main cover-ups, not just with the Epstein and Maxwell case, but obviously P. Diddy and the rest of it. So this is the swamp winning. The question is Trump's DOJ actually using this to control the deep state? Or are they just so overwhelmed by it, they are tapping out? Because, let me explain logic here. And
Yeah.
From all obvious.
So the thing that I was jokingly saying, it's like, well, they used all of that time and effort to do these pedophilia operations, these pedophilia blackmail operations. It'd be a shame to waste it. That's his actual opinion.
Ones broke with the web seraphim, all of.
Have you seen the More Pegasus video about how you're apparently getting arrested? Who the f is More Pegasus? What the f are people? Dude, stop watching morons on the internet who try to create controversy and then believe their own hysteria. Okay? I'm going to ban you permanently. Some of you dumb literally go out and watch the dumbest people, the absolute dumbest people on the internet create hysteria around something and then believe their own hysteria. And then you're supposed to be smarter than this, but you literally also will come in and bring that kind of hysteria into this space for no reason. I'm going to get arrested? What the are you talking about? What? Okay, whatever.
The first unfolding, 5 months ago, when they were supposed to, have this 14 terabytes. They'd sent it out to the FBI field offices for investigation. Again, Bonnie went on Fox a bunch of times. So did some U.S. attorneys from New Jersey, and said, "Oh yeah, we've seen it, hundreds of new victims and videos and all this horrible stuff, kids being raped. Hundreds of new victims. We're going to be releasing it." So you wouldn't say all that if you were planning to cover it up from the beginning. So something has changed along the way, and it all points towards this being used to blackmail the deep state. I'm not endorsing it. I think clearly.
It's kind of sus that you banned him, though. It gives more credence to his comments and video. Okay. No, it doesn't. You want to know why it doesn't? Because you can watch the video on your own and arrive at this conclusion that this is completely idiotic. Okay? And if you are, while we're amidst actual news coverage, if you come in here and you're like, well, some guy came in and made a ridiculous claim in an effort to basically farm the dumbest people, the dumbest drones in existence, and you try to make this a serious, if you try to act as though this is a serious claim, or turn around and defend another chatter who came in with this idiotic claim, then I'll ban you too, because drama is simply drama. It is a way to derail. That's all it is.
Is what Musk learned about a few months ago and looked like he aged, 10 years overnight, looked completely freaked out. And then I think the conscience had to come out and say what he said. I mean, even people like Cat Turd, who is just the quintessential, will not question anything in the Trump administration, is completely freaked out now. I mean, no one is buying this. Patrick McDavid's had really good breakdowns of it all. Jack Posobiec said, okay, so Ghislaine Maxwell is innocent because she was found guilty of sex trafficking. So how do you say there's no trafficking or blackmail or any of this? It's just absolute on its face, and it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. Trump is doing a lot of good, and obviously the deep state's trying to destroy me for supporting him. It's been hell, and a lot of good's happening. I'll say this. This is very, very painful and nauseating. I'm actually physically nauseated in the last 3 hours since I got up and just trying to collate this. And of course, I instantly knew what was happening when I saw the information. I've talked about the different scenarios here. Obviously, there's nothing the globalists wouldn't do to keep this from coming out. They've already tried to kill Trump repeatedly. Had they rolled over? I see a lot of signs that, Trump's pretty much in charge now.
Dude, this is amazing. The mental gymnastics. You guys understand what he's doing here, right? At least when we watch guys like this, they're entertaining in their conspiracies, and the conspiracies revolve, and they're like directly connected to the president. They operate on the same idiotic wavelength as like drama farming slop tubers, but it's like the drama farming slop tubers are significantly lower effort and are putting someone as powerless as myself in the crosshairs. Like I am an irrelevant actor here. At least when we watch other dumbasses like this, we're talking about a dumbass who is a prominent media figure who literally has interviewed the president and has the president's ear at certain points. And after being one of the most important conspiracy theorists of the past couple of decades, now he's trying to actively defend the Trump administration. Incredible. Basically claiming that the Trump administration has actually gotten this blackmail evidence and is now using it against the deep state. Doesn't that make Trump the deep state?
And all evidence points towards them using the information to control the deep state. So meet the new boss, same as the old boss. The Who song won't get fooled again. But I'm going to say this in closing. I'll be covering it all today at 11 a.m. Central when my show kicks off at Infowars.com/show and right here on X on the radio stations across the country. We are seeing 96% reduction in smuggling of humans across the border. They have raided a lot of people and found human traffickers. They have saved a lot of kids. It's in the federal filings, but they're little kids, so you don't see their names in the news. That's the way that works. These are juveniles. That's the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of missing kids, millions of kids total. And so I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, but at the same time, the fact that this is a key, the fact that they didn't just shut up about this, even though they were going to use it for blackmail.
Bro, that's crazy. Lesser of two evils. Listen, Trump is doing deep state pedophile sex trafficking operations, but he's also cut some of the deep state pedophile sex trafficking operations. All right. Donald Trump is actually doing the deep state pedophilia, but in a woke way. Anti-woke way. Sorry. He's doing it in a way to undermine the deep state. This is so stupid. How is America this stupid? Lead poisoning, severe crippling of education. Look at this. 56,000 likes. And then the first guy goes, the Mossad, have you believed the anti-Semitic conspiracy theories? Epstein was Mossad on record. Your anti-Semitism magic word doesn't work. Does Alex Jones know better? Well, he's just a charlatan. What do you mean? He is just an opportunist charlatan. What made you think that he was anything but? Yeah, he is a pedo incrementalist. He's like, slowly but surely, we're limiting the number of pedophilia here. AlexJones.com, Infowars.com. The deep state is reeling back. Trump has become the nice pedophile sex trafficker. That's right. Which goes back to my initial point, which was if Jeffrey Epstein came out and was anti-woke and he wasn't killed and he survived and he came out as anti-woke, these guys would defend him 100%. Okay? Further proof.
Or it was too dangerous, seismically for the system to bring it out. And I'm not defending that. I'm saying that would be the thinking. You don't then have Kash Patel and Bongino like deer in the headlights, looking like they're hostages, saying, oh no, we've seen everything, there's nothing there. No, he killed himself, and put out this stupid video from outside the cell bay with cops dragging trash cans around going, look, this proves he killed himself. You don't do all that unless it's part of a deal with the system that you've got to go out and say that so that you're not complicit in the lie. And that's why they look like they're being tortured, because I think both men have had integrity, and I think you see them losing their souls on live TV. This is going to be an unmitigated disaster. I don't know how they got Trump and the DOJ to do this, because the public is not buying it. No one is buying it. So I never saw any evidence of Trump involved in any of the stuff that came out. It was all fake. The fake Jane Does, all the crap. E. Jean Carroll, the crazy leftist cat lady, all of it. So now by coming in and being part of the cover-up, the Trump administration has become part of it. I mean, it's just, you cannot see it any other way. So I just got to the office. I'm going to go throw up, actually. And that happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically going to puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now because I have integrity. And, I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country. And they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this tears my guts out.
This is why he's a master of the craft. I'm sorry. This is fucking cinema, okay? This is why he is the master of the craft. There are a million car guys. There are a million weepy car guys who do this exact same line of defense for Donald Trump, okay? But none of them can do it like Alex.
The left, they're all complicit. They're openly promoting pedophilia. We know they're pure evil. And they'll think it's all funny. Oh, look, Alex is sad. The MAGA's tearing itself apart. Your globalist masters literally want you to eat bugs.
That's not going to work, big dog. You just spent the first 5 minutes talking about how Trump is actually doing this to blackmail the deep state. That's not going to fucking work. How does that work?
In a 5G, 200 square foot coffin apartment. Look at the left. Look at them all posing with their Pfizer shots, looking like dead zombies. I mean, come on. You guys are sick. And so you shouldn't look at those of us that have a soul still and have integrity in pain over this and celebrate, you dumb pieces of fucking shit. You're going against your own self-preservation, serving this evil globalist system in BlackRock and the New World Order and Hakeem Jeffries and all the rest of it. So I'm just processing this right now. I don't know on what planet Trump is doing all this good stuff in the real world and still being demonized by the corporate media and constant lies. Like, oh, there was no weather alert for flash floods in Texas by the National Weather Service. There was the day before and over 500 times. It's just constant lies. I need to defend Trump. He's being lied about. And then this type of shit happens. I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's just, it's beyond insane. You couldn't try to hurt yourself worse. You couldn't try to discredit the FBI worse than what they've done. Pam Bondi, all of it. All those videos are saying, yeah, she's seen the videos. It's all coming out. And then now it doesn't exist. I mean, what?
Remember, understand something here. Alex Jones is not mad that Trump is potentially, by his own estimation, complicit in the cover-up of Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile sex trafficking case. Alex Jones is mad because it makes Trump look bad. This video is basically like a video that he could have just sent to Donald Trump to be like, sir, it is really difficult for me to defend you right now. I built an entire career off of this case. Do you not understand? If you don't give me a single thing here, We're cooked. Do you not understand how damaging this is to everyone's reputation? That's it.
Damn it.
Like, he's not mad about the cover-up. He's
Well,
already...
at the end of the day, I'll be covering it. And no matter where the...
He's not mad about the cover-up because he's already figured out a way to massage it. To claim that Trump is doing the cover-up because he wants to, like, blackmail the blackmailers in the deep state. With the same blackmail, by the way. But he's saying that this was a tactical misstep because it makes it really hard to defend.
This information goes, I'll always report the truth. I think he's behind it.
I think if Donald Trump wanted to see this stuff out, then he would make sure that it got out. I think if Donald Trump doesn't care if it gets out, then it probably doesn't get out. And if he wants it not out, then it doesn't get out. So,
well, you know why I say that?
Two out of those three mean he doesn't do it. Let me read.
Well, just real fast. There's 3 or 4 interviews. This is I want your expertise, and I've listened to you. That's why everything you said, I know you said it before. I'm listening, Kyle. I respect you.
Sure.
You're giving us your intel analyst on the ground, like reporting back what you saw. I get it, but I want you to go up, to a higher level here. I've got clips played at last hour. Started the show with it. Where Trump's like a year ago, well, it might hurt some people that are innocent. I don't know. Yeah, we'll probably release it, maybe not.
Yep.
And I get from that, he's like, no, I'm going to shut this down. And I do see them shutting down a lot of the human trafficking things, but we're thinking about using it.
This is what I think is the problem. The folks that you're relying on for your analysis when you're in those positions, you have to have good people feeding you intel. At least 80% of the overall intel agencies, the USIC, the United States Intelligence Community, they're academics. They are left-leaning. They think government is the answer, and they know that they're going to survive to the next administration. They won't be bothered, especially the people
it's
that
the
are
permanent state.
Permanently, that's okay. Permanent Washington, administrative state, deep state, they're all the same thing, right? This is something that Machiavelli wrote, and my buddy sent this to me. He was an intel analyst at DHS, sharp guy. He said, this is 500-year-old information. This is something we used to all know. This is why every single government, when they turn over power, they exile everybody from the old government.
And this is from the intense city-state wars where the modern political science was developed in the ultimate ongoing cloak and dagger from what is Italy today.
That's right.
What the fuck okay, no. Fox News is taking this well, lol.
Do you think it's fair, Buck, to say, okay, I'm looking...
Oh, this is, what is his name? Buckley Sexton or whatever. He's also literally a former CIA guy, if I'm not mistaken.
Looking at this memo, it says there's no, quote, client list. Well, I don't know what that means. There's no Word document. There's no Notes app on his phone. There's no printed out piece of paper with lists of names on it. But there are clients, right? We've been led to believe there were clients. There were other people involved in this, either in helping to, either patronizing Jeffrey Epstein or help him to coordinate this. And do you think it's fair, Buck, to say, okay, I'm looking at this memo. It says there's no, quote, client list. Well, I don't know what that means. There's no Word document. There's no...
Don't worry. The marching orders will kick in. Yeah, Buckley Sexton. Pretty sure he's a former CIA guy as well. So Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for 20 years for what? For being a woman. So that's what it is. Breaking: DOJ releases 10-plus hours long surveillance footage they say proves no one entered Jeffrey Epstein's cell prior to his death. The only tiny sliver of a staircase leading to Jeffrey Epstein's could be seen. This is what they argue proves no one approached his cell that night, despite it almost being entirely out of frame. Stairway to L tier in the second images is what leads to this block. So it's not actually the cellway that they're his door of his cell that they're showing, because the camera footage actually doesn't exist there. In each of these tiers is 8 cells with 2 inmates. Epstein is L tier in view of the guards. Circles, who is diagonal to the camera. The first flag is that this footage is existing at all. The first red flag is this footage existing at all. We know from OIG reports that most cameras were not recording that day, except for the one in the stairwell and this camera. But we frequently have conflicting stories about which footage still exists. To suddenly have 10 hours released of it is odd. There are also multiple entrances, which isn't showcased. This means it's easy to enter and go up the staircase to L tier, keeping up the right of the staircase and not be seen. For example, here's a screenshot we'll talk about later of 2 people rushing up the stairs, and you can barely see them. I mean, lack of consistency is signs of a shoddy cover-up. I'm just more surprised that the fucking cover-up is so shoddy. I genuinely don't understand how these guys had so much fucking time to actually cover the story and create like an airtight cover-up, and they seemingly were unable to do so after years and years. Like, what more do you need?